Yeah.
Uh,
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Good. Doing really, really well. Thanks for coming
Good.
and hanging out. And I appreciate
Yes. Thanks for
this.
having me.
Oh man, no, I'm glad to. This has been a really cool Monday because I get to I just got to have the men's call earlier today too. And every week's a little different depending on the mentors, that are coming in. And so when I get to double up and kind of back to back, it's super fun. We had Gary John Bishop. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
Mm-mm.
So he's written a bunch of books. The titles of them are like "Unf Yourself," and so like
Oh,
they're pretty aggressive titles.
yes. Yes,
Um,
I've heard of him.
okay, yeah, but he's like he was like a Scottish Jordan Peterson, sort of,
Oh,
but a little more aggressive. Like it's just super fascinating, man. So super fun. So I was like, all right, cool. So then we're gonna go, and I'm gonna go talk to Adele, and we can just ask, like, hey, how do we all un-F ourselves, Adele? Like, we'll just kind of start, right? We'll just start with that, and just like,
yeah.
how do we un-F, the peaceful protests going on in California? How do we un-F
Ew.
our inclusivity standards and get them up to the level of Simone Biles? I just figured you'll help us solve
Oh,
all the problems today. Like
oh
that's,
yeah.
yeah. So we'll just,
I have all the answers to
yeah,
all the
I know you do. I
questions.
know you do, girl. No, man, this is just a chat with you. It's good ladies getting to pour into good ladies. I just get to be here for the ride too. It's good moms pouring into good moms. So thanks for coming and hanging out.
Yeah, of course.
The big
Happy to be here.
I want to give, just in case anybody doesn't know, I want to give kind of some of the high level, but when I say high level, I like to go with who does Adele say she is? If I was to be like, hey, who do you say you are? Because that's different than a bio. Who do you say you are? We'll start with that, and then we'll just do a little Q&A and have a fun hour.
Well, I see myself as a very ordinary mom who just decided one day that I was tired of the nonsense in the world and that I was going to do my tiny little part and be the one drop in the bucket. And I wasn't really expecting anything to happen from that. But it's been a really cool ride. But I argue with my kids and force them to clean their rooms, and we unload the dishwasher every day. And we're homeschooling now, which has been a huge transition. I feel like I'm just really an ordinary person. So yeah,
That's that's what a good person will say because we realize we're all just kind of ordinary people,
yeah,
and but sometimes we do extraordinary things or have extraordinary consistency. So when you say, so this is, I love that you framed it that way, and I figured you'd frame it something like that. So when you say you kind of got sick of the nonsense and decided to do something about it. So what was the nonsense that kind of drove you over the edge? Because I think there's a handful of things that the majority of us here on this call would tend to agree are nonsense. What was that nonsense to you? And then when you say do something about it, what did that look like?
sure. So this was back in 2020. My in-laws wouldn't see us for 18 months or so. They were watching NPR and CNN, and I was like pleading with them to just listen to me. And I had all this like data and info from years of like looking up vaccines and medical stuff, just for my own sake to keep my kids healthy. And they were not having it. They were wearing boots, little booties to go into their house, and they were wiping their groceries. And my kids were crying all the time that they miss their mima and their papa. And the fact that they wouldn't even listen to me and I was their daughter-in-law, it just like really made me mad. And then of course I would go out in public and people would like hold their breath around me, like because I wasn't wearing a mask. And I was like, is this where we're at? Like my friends would say, oh, we have to play outside, we can't play inside. And I was just like, this is madness. And so I got really angry. And when I get fired up, that's it. I'm over the edge. I'm not coming back. So I just started posting about how ridiculous everything was on the internet. And in 6 months or so, it just started to blow up.
Yeah, it did. How come, why do you think it resonated so? Because there was a lot of people, and look, wherever anybody stands on it, there's, with my in-laws were the same. They were very afraid for a long time. They've come to sort of realize now that things, but they don't want to talk about it. They've come to realize that things weren't as it was portrayed, but they really don't want to talk about it because at the time it did cause a rift because we said, no, we're not going to do this. Our campuses, our schools are going to stay open. We're going to keep letting the kids come in. My brother was he is still a firefighter. We were in California at the time, and he was in Napa, and 80 some odd firefighters there. There were only four of them, him included, that were refusing to get the vaccine. Again, whatever anybody wanted to do, that's on you. That's great. But it
Mhm.
was the forcing and, hey, you're going to lose your livelihood, not be able to take care of your family, where we're like, hey, man, what's going on here, right? So
Yeah.
there was a lot of this too. And so a lot of people were speaking out. Why do you think you resonated with so many?
Because I was saying what nobody else wanted to say, and I was saying it with a really like defiant attitude. And I think that just really helped other people, give them permission, excuse me, to be defiant too against just complete nonsensical government overreach. And yeah, so yeah, I definitely had a little bad attitude for a while, nodding my head a lot and
Yeah,
stuff.
throwing it out, yeah,
Yeah,
giving a little bit
yeah.
of that, yeah. So this is what's I love that we're going down this track too, because I also know you are a super kind human being. You are a very loving person. And so a lot of people think that those things can't coexist, right? You've got a very strong faith and a very strong faith background. And so you have that, and also, hey, don't tread on me, kind of deal. And those can go together. Um, do you get pushback from either side? And what I mean by that is, do you get pushback from people like maybe in the church community where it's like, hey, having grace means letting everything go? Or do you get pushback from the other side of like, oh, well, you are a so-called, or a so-called Christian? Like, do you ever get messages like that, or do you have to have that battle sometimes?
Oh yes, absolutely. I get called names, hateful, um, judgmental, every name in the book. We actually have a local business, and there were people who found my Instagram and were like, "We don't feel like, we don't feel like she's safe around our kids, so we're like leaving the school." And I was never around their kids, but it's
Mm,
just words that people use to make you feel like you're a bad person.
right.
Um, and they were threatening to go to the media and trying to sue, and like that was very difficult. And at that point, I almost quit because I was like, this isn't worth it to me. And then I was like, you know what? Like, who do they think they are that they're going to try to bully me and try to make me feel bad about that my beliefs go with the Bible, and I'm like trying to align with that, which never changes, and like we can count on that. And over here, culture's telling us to do all this crazy stuff, constantly changing. I was like, no, absolutely not. Like I stand firm in my faith and on God's promises, and He's been very faithful in that. But we actually were at a church for about a year. We really wanted to give it a good try because the pastor is very dynamic. He knows his Bible very well. But every Sunday he would say, "We don't talk politics here." But then he would go on to say something like, "We should leave vaccines up to the experts. And, if you're a patriot and you're a Christian, that's heresy." And after a while, I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. Like, I'm out. Um, because it's one thing to put your conservative values above God, but it's another to be passionate about something when they were literally saying our kids should be taken from us and put in indoctrination camps because we wouldn't agree to go to take something in our arm that we didn't even know what was in it. Like that's madness. And I just think about all the good people who were boots on the ground getting pornography out of schools, um, who were just fighting so hard in every capacity in policies, local, state level, federal level. And I'm like, how can you say that we can't talk politics when it's really like it's good versus evil? So
Mhm.
that's where like for me, I got so fired up and I was like, I can't go to this church anymore. Like, I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we are in this. Interesting is I think a kind word to use. I don't think it's actually interesting. It's a little frightening, and I'm not I don't operate out of fear. That's not my foundational principle or value to stand on by any stretch of the imagination. But when I look at it as a parent and just look at the trends of how far away we've allowed ourselves to go from anything that resembles civil discourse, being able to have a conversation. At the end of the day, I promise I will disagree on something and you will disagree on something with everybody else on this screen. The reality is we all probably agree on 90 to 95% of most things,
Right.
right? But I guarantee we can find some things we disagree on. So then what? Should we just never talk to each other again?
Yeah,
Right.
totally.
Right. Let's dive into that civil discourse. And I think it's such an interesting time when we get such hatred for speaking out. And that hatred can come through social media, it can come through people who are like vehemently like, okay, if you're in this camp, we're automatically enemies, but it can come through our, what we consider our own tribes sometimes too, right? And they'll go after us. I remember Dave Rubin, I don't know if you're familiar with
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah.
So Dave and I, so we did a movie, we worked with Dennis Prager on a movie called No Safe Spaces
Okay.
about the lack of civil discourse in college. And so Dave and I went to go speak at an event. We were showing the film and then we were speaking at the event. And we went to a small Christian university in California. Great folks over there. But we got there and the people were like, we didn't realize Dave Rubin was this Dave Rubin. Like, we didn't really realize who he was. I'm not sure if we're going to let him come in and speak. I said, we're speaking on the ability to have civil discourse in society. What? Do you not want him to speak because there's protesters? They're like, he's a gay Jew. I'm like, yes, he is. And like, so let's have a conversation, right? It's that. So it's so fascinating, man. So people can get really wrapped up in that and then just shut down and stop talking altogether.
Yeah.
So like for you, what fuels the conviction to keep speaking, even just past fear, past like potential backlash, like what fuels that?
Well, evil doesn't stop, so I can't stop.
It's fair. Yeah,
Yeah. That's it.
it's fair. That sums that up. I mean, really, that's it. That sums that up. So what do you think about that in terms of your kids in this society, like leading them in a way that they understand that without being fear-based too?
Yeah, totally. I think it's really about empowerment at the end of the day, empowering our kids in every way that we can to be well equipped, well educated, so they understand what's going on their level. And I know that Apogee is partnered with the Tuttle Twins, and we are Tuttle Twins fanatics over here. We read them all and then we discuss the topics in the books, and then it leads to other topics. And I'm not going to scare my kids by any means, but I do feel like education is empowerment. And so any way that I can educate them, I do it so that they know how to navigate the world around them, which is absolute madness.
Yeah,
I
good.
think I think having the conversations at home with our kids and teaching them how to disagree with us then allows them to go out into the world to disagree with other people. Because if that's like I noticed that like early on with my kids is like, you tell them no and then they want to talk back and it's like, wait, what if I could teach them how to be respectful and to have that conversation back and forth? You don't always have to agree with me.
Oh, totally. Yeah, we definitely do a lot of that here. And I think I learned that skill, and I'm not perfect by any means. And sometimes I'm like, just put your shoes on, like, just do it, just put them on. Blind
Sure.
obedience. We got to go to the place. But when I used to teach middle school, and I was in a really bad neighborhood, and I learned very quickly that they're not going to respect you unless you respect them and you show them that you're like willing to talk to them and treat them a certain way. And I think that was a really good thing for me to learn. One thing I noticed with those kids in particular is I would tell them to do something and they would go, why? And I would go, well, because of X, Y, and Z, and because of this, and because of that. And they go, oh, okay. And they would just comply. And so we've taken that approach with our children too. Okay, you need to do this. Well, why? Well, because of this and because of this. We want you to grow up to be, responsible adults. We don't want you to go to prison. We want, And so then they're like, oh, okay. And typically they'll do it. So I think that's a great point.
What you ladies just said, though, think about how fascinating this is. So a lot of us grew, well, I'll speak for myself, but enough people that I've spoken to is like we grew up where if you ask why, when your parents or grandparents say, hey, you got to do this, how come? How dare you be disrespectful?
Yeah.
What if that really is just genuine curiosity as far as why does a human do this? Like,
Yeah.
right? Like, what if they're really just saying, okay, I'll do that, but I am curious to know why do good people do this? Why do people like why? Right? If we don't look at it as a sign of disrespect, we look at it as a sign of curiosity and then give that explanation. Because what you said is spot on. The kids, when they know the rationale behind it and they know that they've got a caring adult who is giving them that rationale, the pushback doesn't tend to be there as much.
Yeah.
That's really it. Right. And then there's, of course, there's the developmental side of that. And they're going to have to test boundaries. And sometimes they'll ask you why again, because they want to see if you're serious. Right. And they don't even know consciously necessarily that they're doing that. But man, if we just shifted our perspective on that, I think that's a powerful thing for us as parents.
Yeah. And I grew up in a very Southern, um, don't talk back kind of
Sure.
home.
Sure.
And I am a very curious human being. And so there was a lot of those times when I was just like, I don't understand. And it would be like, well, don't sass me, young lady. And I'm like, but I don't get it. Just
Yeah.
explain it to me.
Yeah. So that and that in of itself is, where did you grow up again?
Well, I was born in Mississippi,
Okay.
and my great uncle is Robert E. Lee. So like it's hardcore in my family,
Okay.
like
Got it. Yeah.
super Southern. And then we moved to North Carolina and lived there for 8 years, and then we moved to Georgia.
Into Georgia. Okay.
And,
Got
and
it.
then I moved to Florida in like 2006.
Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So you've been down here in the South. Where were you in North Carolina? Just curiosity, because that's where I'm at. Ish.
Yeah. So first of all, North Carolina is my favorite state I've
Yeah.
ever lived in or been to. It's just
Yeah.
beautiful. I lived in Raleigh for 4 years and Charlotte for 4 years, and then I went to summer camp every year in Asheville.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Which is obviously out near where I am. My daughter's working at. She's at work right now. I'm working at one of
Oh.
the summer camps out here. So yeah, it's a beautiful spot. Very cool. So yeah, being raised with that sort of background, what do you, as a mom, how have you navigated those patterns, right? Because as parents, we all tend to lean into okay, well, this is how I was raised. And then that's my example of how to raise kids. And obviously we have a spouse that comes in with their own version of
Yeah.
that example. And we have to figure out, well, this is kind of what I saw, this is what I saw, but this is what we want to do together, which may or may not be different. Yeah, have you had to like navigate the ooh, I'm starting to parent like my parents and I don't want to kind of thing? Or have you had like what does that look like for you guys navigating that together?
Well, my husband is very much, he asks more questions than I do.
Okay.
He will ask so many questions that customer service people will hang up on him. Like, so
That's
he
awesome.
is the king of curiosity. So, and I think he's actually like propelled me into asking more questions and going deeper with conversation. So I think that's been a really good thing for us as a couple. And as parents, we definitely want our kids to be curious and ask a lot of questions. I find that he is very, very supportive of the way that I want to do things, and I think the way we want to do things is pretty similar.
Yeah.
Um, but both of us are still always learning and trying to find the balance. But yeah, I think for me, when I start to act more like my parents, it's just a patience and a pride issue at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, am I willing to take the time to sit with my child and explain this or go through the motions with them on how to do this one thing? Or am I just gonna like bark at them? You
Yeah.
know? So, and I feel like we're all very close, my kids and I, and we all enjoy being together because we have taken that time. And I mean, when it comes to baking, like baking with children is a total nightmare because there's ingredients everywhere. They're all over the floor. They're like fighting over who gets to pour what cup of what. But like at the end of the day, I want to do it with them. I want them to learn how to do it with me. So I'm willing to have that mess and for it to be a lot more work for me at the end of the day.
I love
Isn't
that.
isn't it cool though when we have those moments that we're barking at our kids because of time? That usually is the case where we're like, just hurry up and do it.
Yeah.
I like to circle back when I've had a moment like that, because then that mom guilt comes in and I'm like, ah, I was so short with them. Being able to circle back around and say, hey, look, I was short because we were short on time. It wasn't okay that I, talked to you this way, and I want to dig into this deeper. And that to me has the curiosity in them has grown because I was able to circle back, maybe not in that moment, but yes, baking with kids is a nightmare. I absolutely agree. And
It tastes good. It still tastes good at the end of the day, but
Of
yeah.
course. And I don't I'm convinced, man, that it's those kinds of moments too, that when we go, okay, I don't feel like I have the time, or we're on a time crunch, but they're wanting to help, or they're wanting to do with, or they're want man, I think we earn time back in spades later if we give the time then. I
Yeah.
think that comes back in um first of all, it comes back in their ability to self-direct later, right? It comes back in their ability to be independent, right? We help foster that early on, and we spend that extra time. It gives them that confidence in the skill set to be independent later.
Yeah.
It also comes back in spades with time that they want to spend with us later too, right? When traditionally, the narrative is, oh, well, wait until they're this age and they don't want to talk to you anymore. I think we get a lot of that time back right then too, right? I
Yeah.
think and that's one of the things that, and I'll be honest, I was the one reminding Heather for a long time with my son can tell stories like I don't understand. I guess I get it where he gets it, but it's like talking is breathing sometimes, right? It's like he would die if he stopped. And so it's just coming out. And usually I'm the one, but recently it's been Heather. She's like, hey, stop it. This, like, listen. And I think us listening to that stuff early on earns us the time back later where they want to come talk to us again. I think it's
Yeah.
so important that we lean into those.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
Um, so one of the areas that you've been very curious, and I know you've kind of gone down the rabbit holes of in various natures, is human health,
Yeah.
right? And looking at some areas of health that I feel like should be spoken about more than they are. And one area that I am admittedly ignorant to, and I think you have a little more knowledge, is like detoxing and things like parasite cleanses and things like that, right? I really do not know a ton about that. And I think you've gone down that rabbit hole a little bit, and you've kind of worked in that field a little bit. Where did that interest come from for you? And so what are you doing with all of that? What are the conversations you're having with people on this? 'Cause that's
Oh,
fascinating.
lots of fun, interesting TMI conversations.
Okay.
So first thing is I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis almost 12 years ago. And at the time, we were so poor. We were living in 300 square feet. My husband had just started his own business, and we were like, living on love, as they say.
Yeah.
We had decided to pay off all of our debt and do like Dave Ramsey's method. And so we just didn't have a lot. And there was no money to explore options except for just like your insurance covers this doctor, go to this doctor, he'll tell you this, etc. So, I followed the Western medicine path for a while. And it was like, oh, well, you're going to put this poison in your body. It's going to take 10 years off of your life, but at least you'll have a good life for that time that you're alive. And I was like, well, wait a minute. I don't want to lose 10 years of my life. So I just stopped taking the medicine that I was taking. First of all, it was $6,000 a month, not covered by insurance. So then I had to apply through the like big pharma, big umbrella, and try to get it every single month. And trying to get it every single month was literally, I felt like a drug addict needing the drug and not being able to get a hold of it
Yeah.
through this umbrella company. And it was so frustrating. And they'd be like, oh, we didn't get your paperwork. Oh, it didn't come through the fax, or it came out completely black. And I was like, I just need this medicine. So I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to go find my own path. And I just started looking. Luckily, a lot of people in the government doesn't know anything, field, are also looking for ways to heal themselves, for natural remedies, things like that. So I just started down that path, and I was looking in every, just desperation, because I was in so much pain. I had 4 kids, 4 and under, trying to take care of them. My husband was gone 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I was like, I'm desperate. And it's just been one little tiny rabbit hole after the other. And finally, I feel like I have all the tools that I need, and it's just like crossing off boxes to figure out what works for me, what doesn't work, like how can I get better? Okay, this thing didn't work. That's okay. Let's do the next thing. Okay, that didn't work. Let's do the next thing. And I think detoxing is a huge part of that, because I found out that I have the MTHFR gene mutation, which basically means that your body doesn't detox itself. So everything you've ever like put in your body, you hold on to. And I think most people know that our water is filled with toxins, and the air and the soil and the food that we eat is covered in pesticides and things like that. And so it's just accumulated in my body over time. And I think stress is a big thing. It's like so many factors that I didn't realize were all happening at once, which made it all happen. So now I'm determined to get better and completely heal myself. And when I do, I'm writing a book. But until then, I'm not there yet. And help as many people as I can on the way.
I love that, man. And it's the scientific method, right? It's asking,
Yeah.
it's trying, it's tinkering, it's seeing what works, it's seeing what doesn't. And I love the way that you put that out there. When you put that message out, do you get do you have to take a look? So I'm asking this selfishly. So I put messages out that I'm like, hey, if this works for you, great. If this doesn't work for you, great. Here's what I've seen work for more people than not. And inherently, it doesn't matter what is said. Somebody comes out and like, oh, well, you're shaming this person because you didn't mention them, or because, whatever. So do you face that in this space too? Like the detox, the health space, where it's like, oh, you're shaming parents who decide to, or you're shaming, whatever. Like, how often do you have to navigate that whole thing and get back to what you just said, which is that scientific method of test and see what works and ask the questions? And look, I'm just telling you what I have discovered. Go take a look, ask the questions for yourself. Like, do you have those conversations often?
They're not super often. I think so many people are in the dark because we've never been educated on the things that I've found out. And it's still very, very new to many, many people. So I don't get it a ton, but if I say anything about like, moms, you shouldn't feed your kids this food,
Yeah,
that immediately I'm mom shaming, and I'm a horrible person, and I'm not like being part of the sisterhood. And I'm like, I grew up on that food. I'm
yeah,
speaking from somebody who ate Pop-Tarts and
yeah,
Cheetos and Handy Snacks and Pepsi. And I'm saying, like, I'm trying to help you by like giving you the tools to not do that. But yeah,
yeah,
I think there's always going to be a level of you can't win when you're on the internet.
100%. Ladies, at any point, if you want to start putting hands up, put hands up. We'll start bringing you guys into, when you're talking detox. What are you taking a look at for you in terms? So it's like, are you talking like chelation and like getting out heavy metals? Are you talking about parasites more than anything else? Are you talking about like, what does detox protocol actually look like? Like, what are you actually trying to pull out more than anything else
Um,
for you personally? Is it like,
Me personally, for me personally, I've done the parasite,
yeah,
I've done the heavy metals,
okay,
and now I'm at the healing my gut part.
okay, got it. Yep.
Um, yeah, which is very tricky, but especially when you're on the go a lot
Yeah.
as a busy mom. But I still heavy metal detox every day. I take the spray that I take and the droppers. I do it every day, and my kids do it every day, because the doctor did say, like, if you have MTHFR, they probably do too. Um, so I feel like because we're ingesting the heavy metals every day, we need to be like detoxing them every day as well. And it's one of those things where it's not going to hurt you. But I drink 24 ounces of celery juice every morning, which is an incredible way to detox the body. It literally flushes the colon. So
Celery.
celery juice, yeah. So the medical medium, I think, was the first person to really talk about it, but tons of holistic people do it. It's one of the most hydrating liquids on the planet. It's got digestive enzymes in it. It's so good for you. And it literally just cleans you out. So if you wanted to do like a basic detox to just feel better if you've got a lot of fatigue or headaches or brain fog, which is what I hear a lot, take 2 days and drink celery juice, and that's it. And after 2 days, you will feel like you are on the top of a mountain. You will feel so good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. I love geeking out about all this kind of stuff, man. I was talking to my friend Mark Bell, who's I think I think he's lost his mind anyways, but I love him to death. I was talking to him, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm doing sugar fasting." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm eating nothing but sugar over these next few." I'm like, "Okay, man." And like then it just yeah, it's just like this crazy experiment. Like, I don't know if I'm going to get on board with that one, but I appreciate the scientific inquiry of all of it. And I've done various fasting protocols, and I definitely feel better on some than others. That's one I haven't heard too. So that's fascinating to me. Who do you like to pay attention to when you're looking at human health related things? Like, who are some of your favorite kind of go-tos to watch or to listen to or to read?
I really like Gary Brecka.
Yeah.
And there's so many that are like him. I can't even remember them all, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. I like Callie Means and his wife, or his sister, Casey Means.
Yeah, brother, sister. Yes.
Yes, I love them. And there's just a lot of little accounts
Yeah.
that really haven't gotten their name out there yet that have all the information. And so the algorithm does what it does best, right? Like I push Casey Means' stuff and then it gives me like 20 others and I'm just like, click, 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 click.
All those right in there. Yeah, 100%. That's
Yeah.
some good there. Erica, let's get you in here, my friend. How are you?
Hey, doing good. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am. We got you.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for being here. Appreciate your time. And before I ask my question, you have an awesome name, so I just couldn't help myself but
Oh,
saying that. Super cool.
thank you.
So you talked about homeschooling, and I'm not sure if you've always homeschooled or where y'all at there, but then you also talked about like baking with kids, right? And how it's super messy, but it's like trying to do things with your kids. So what I'm curious to know is your approach to homeschool like just bring your kids along with you through life as much as possible, and that's the way you're educating, or is it like, is there certain maybe like structured stuff you're doing? You mentioned the Tuttle twins, and I have some of those books as well, but we just did our first year of homeschool this past year, and it's been wonderful. And I definitely lean on the like take your kids with you through life approach, which is what we've always done, even when they were in public school. But just would kind of love to hear, how that's been going for you guys.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we homeschooled in 2020 because we had to, and part of 2021, and we did a 1 day a week co-op, but I had 2 3-year-olds. I was very sick and I felt like I was drowning. And so the following year, it was really like the Lord. It wasn't us. This classical Charlotte Mason school had just opened, and they were like income based, so it was affordable. So we stuck our kids there for 4 years, and then we started noticing that the math was very similar to Common Core math, and so my kids were spending 2 hours on 2 problems. And then they took their like yearly tests and they were like way at the bottom. And I was like, we're out. Like, this is not working anymore. So we've only been homeschooling officially since 2020, for 1 semester. And I'm a researcher. So I was asking all these homeschool moms what they did. And they said we needed to de-school for a while. So we did that, and I would say because I'm very like I'm a planner, I'm structured, like I like to have the things and check the boxes, and so I felt very guilty about this deschooling and just hanging out kind of thing. But it did seem that they needed a detox of their own per se, because they were like very irritable and grouchy and just like bickering so much. And then after like 3 months, that stopped from just like kind of hanging out. And we would only do worksheets like a couple times a week. And I just found some random books that had like, oh, a fraction book and a cursive book and things like that. Um, but what I've discovered is that they hate doing worksheets and they like will fight me tooth and nail. And I'm like, okay, this isn't working. So I think the doing life works better for our family because I really don't want to have to fight every day just to get some worksheets filled out and they're groaning all the time. And like now, Matt had me listening to Dumbing Us Down, the John Taylor Gatto book, which is so good. Thank you, Matt, for that recommendation. And he's just saying how we need less and less school and we need to just be like raising our kids at home. And I was like, okay, well, this is making a lot of sense. So what I've seen in this last semester is massive maturity growth. Like my mother even noticed, and she's a very critical human being. And she was like, wow, they're just so mature. I can't believe it. And I was like, yeah, it's just from being with us. I've noticed that they're a lot calmer. And I think that's way more important than how many math facts they know. You know, can you regulate your emotions? Can you control yourself when you're angry? How do you get along with your siblings? How do you know, navigate your own world? How do you keep yourself occupied? I think those things are really, really important. And so those are the things I've seen improve. And then my daughter on her own, she's very tech savvy, which as a mom, I have to navigate that carefully, but I let her use Canva and she learned how to do all these like graphics for our business. And so she like, they look professional. And so we're going to pay her and she wants to keep doing that kind of thing. But I think that's neat. She just taught herself. I just opened the program and I was like, here you go. Like, I don't know anything. Enjoy it. So yeah, doing life seems to work best for us.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Love it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So good, man. You know, the tech side of things, it's so fascinating. I'm not, you know, we're not a huge screen family, by any stretch of the imagination. Like the kids don't have, you know, and again, people do what you want to do. My kids don't have social media. They don't have, you know, there's during the day, they're not going on any sort of screens. They're not going down YouTube rabbit holes. You're not going to, unless it is something specifically for a project that they are working on and they're doing specific research for something they want to do, something they want to create. But it's interesting. There's been a couple of really cool programs that have come, like Synthesis, and I know Liam,
Yes.
you know, Liam Whitney's son uses Synthesis. My son loves it. Synthesis is a great, like the rise of AI is terrifying in some regards, and there's also some amazing benefits to it, and having that personalized tutor, you know, that is able to kind of pull you in, and help you along. It's been super fascinating to see the kids get in there. But what you said too is that deschooling part and getting it back to where now all of a sudden that curiosity is back for them too.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That curiosity comes back to where it's not such a chore anymore. And it's not, I'm just battling. My middle daughter now actually will ask for worksheets sometimes. The other two won't, but the middle one will. But she's never seen it. She never has gone to a regular school. So it's just like, to her, it's a really cool way to play this game. To the other two, they're like, that sounds like a horrible game.
Right.
All of them will find ways that they've all of a sudden been interested. And if grade level was a real thing, they're all wildly above it in everything without ever having it been, you know.
Yeah.
So it just speaks to that, again, just the human nature, man. It's fascinating. But that said, talking about tech, talking about screens, you mentioned your daughter, you mentioned Canva. How do you guys navigate screens and tech and internet access and all that at home? That's always an interesting conversation. And we never say anybody's got the answer, but like, just how do you guys navigate that whole thing?
Yeah. We are pretty strict with screens. We have a family computer, and then they don't have any tablets. They don't have iPhones. They have nothing. When they were little, I was super hardcore. We didn't have a TV in our home for a long time, like 6 years.
Yeah.
And we only had the laptop. And I was like, they can't even like be near a screen. I think I had more capacity back then, bandwidth maybe, but we as long as we're around, we allow them, like she can do Canva while I'm around. She needs to do synthesis with me in the room, because I don't want them alone with a computer or a phone. But they do have Gab watches, which are like the safe mom watch,
Yep, totally.
totally locked down. The
Yep.
girls have that just because my daughter is going to be 12 in July, and she is hanging out with her friends for longer. She went to day camp every day last week. I just want to know that she's okay and she can get a hold of me, you know? But other than that, they watch TV, they watch what we choose, or like we do a family movie together typically. But yeah, we're pretty strict about it.
Yeah, yeah, I thought so. And we're relatively say my kids have Gab. That's what they have too, the Gab thing, especially my oldest, as she's going. She actually has a phone now, but there's, it's the Gab phone. It's got the numbers that we approve. We see all the messages that come through. She sees all the messages. And again, it's not that there's not, trust there. It is just locking down, making sure
Yeah.
that things can be, what they are. But it's an interesting world to navigate. The AI stuff has been a fascinating conversation lately too. It's been so interesting in our house, the conversation, what they've played with on certain apps, what we've talked about, even with Whit's husband. Kevin is our COO for Apogee too. And so we've been talking very heavily on AI integration, what it looks like, what it doesn't. Our mentors that come on every single week, so fascinating. People coming from different businesses and backgrounds, and what they're excited about with AI, what they're terrified about with AI. How do you view the whole, and I'd be interested, I want to hear, I don't know where all of you ladies, that are on here with us live, like where you guys stand too. I think this is such a fascinating conversation because I see how fast it is being used for a number of things. What's kind of your general take on it? And ladies, I want to hear what you all think about this too.
Yeah, let's chat about it. AI is incredible. It's incredibly helpful. I mean, if I want to make a coloring book, which I'm working on, I can tell ChatGPT to make me a coloring book, and I literally don't do anything except go, well, just tweak this, fix this.
Yeah.
It draws every page, it does everything, which is incredible. And it takes what, a couple of hours, maybe? And that's only when there's a lot of users on. However, we're talking mass surveillance, accessing anything, anytime. I mean, I'm thinking Minority Report. I'm a slightly crazy, paranoid human being, and I'm like, it's scary how crazy like it will be at some point.
It is fascinating. Like, ladies, where do you all lean in? Like, this is where I'm excited about it. This is where I'm not, like, where I'm really fascinated by this now too, because I'm looking at it from the lens of, well, I mean, I look at it from two lenses. One, as the dad, how do I look at this for my family and opportunities for my kids, good and bad? When I say opportunities, I mean opportunities to go down a great path, opportunities to potentially get in trouble, right? Like, what does that look like? But I look at it from the opportunity for the organization too. How does this help us as an organization with our mission? How does this help us make families stronger? How does this help us educate families as well? Because there are going to be things that become relevant that aren't now, and there's going to be things that are currently relevant that will not be anymore. And part of our job, especially for you ladies that are running campuses, how do we help lead those families in using it well? I think this is a fascinating conversation. All right, let's get firsthand in here. It just says, oh, what's happening, girl? How are you?
Oh, it's Danielle. So sorry. I forgot that it's signed
Oh,
me.
you're good. No,
So
you're
talking
good.
about
I just couldn't think when you
CCH,
were up there.
about CCH, that's my business. And I have used ChatGPT, I would say, in the last 2 years, and it's enhanced my business in so many ways in regards to helping me update policies, procedures, think
Mm,
about evaluations for the teachers that work in my childcare center,
mm,
giving me, and the scary thing is, like you said, Adele, is that the more I tell it about my business, the more it speaks like me. And that, talking about surveillance, is creepy. And so I try to not go that route sometimes because there's that rabbit hole, right? But I would say I've really enjoyed ChatGPT especially for my professional life, it has enhanced and changed, made my life easier. Instead of spending hours on writing policy and procedure, I ask it a question and it gives it back, and I either like it or I don't like it, and I tweak it from there. So
Yeah.
it's a thumbs up, but it's also like a middle thumbs to down in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. What business, Adele, what business is your husband in?
We own a local music school. It's a brick and mortar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. So is there an AI impact on this that you're seeing, or
So for the sake of my marriage, we don't do business together. We
got
don't
it. Good.
we don't do it.
Understood. Got it.
But he does he like updates me from time to time.
Yeah.
I do help him with the social media, I will say.
Yeah. Okay.
But as far as the ins and outs, I really have no idea. I know he's got a CRM he really likes, and it's
Yeah.
for music. There's probably AI, and he's a
Yeah.
tech guy, so he probably loves AI,
He
but
probably has some. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's so fascinating. That's funny that you said that too, with the the pairing of husband and wife and business, and I get that. So like there are certain pieces that Heather knows everything that is going on, as far as Apogee goes, and she obviously knows the big story. Like there's a lot of it, but then there's a lot of it too that it's just completely separate because it just
Yeah.
muddles than anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, the way that we operate is so different.
Yeah.
Like, he's very meticulous and a very careful mover, and I'm very like spontaneous and just like,
Yeah.
we'll just go, just do it.
Yeah,
And he's
just
like,
do it.
it's not that simple.
So funny, but dude, I think that's a great combination. I think that's a
Yeah.
great combination of folks. Britt, how are you, young lady?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Oh, good to see you.
Hey,
Good to see you
girl.
guys. Hi, Del. How are you?
You
Good,
all
how are
know
you?
you know each
Good.
other.
Yes.
Yeah. Although this is a lot of fun just to hear like more details that we don't get
Yeah.
into from some of the onboarding process that like
Yeah.
as we build that community, it comes together, which is exciting. So I would love probably personally just to continue to delve into some of the stuff that you're doing more from a cleanse standpoint, and how do we think about that from just health as well, and that part of on campus and stuff. But um, I I had with the question on the AI in it. From my background, I come from working capital trade finance. So I actually financed Gab Wireless, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
I know the CEO down here. He's in Florida too, a little bit south of us. But so it's interesting because of that. It's in fintech, which is like on-demand working capital, and so I can see, and I've had so many different AI presentations where they have closed AI, so you can develop AI that works only within your organization. It doesn't share data across organizations. So like there's so many different things from like systems like that, but at the same time, I can have an assistant that I am training. Like, so a salesperson can have an AI assistant. Every single person has it, and they start talking to each other. And like those AIs literally will begin communicating without ever needing human involvement. And that's where it's like, to me, is like, what's the input and what is it? But thinking about it on campus, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it, Adele. But I think that there's use of AI, but I don't think that AI is used until somebody has a baseline knowledge. Because if you ask AI a question and it comes back with an answer, and that answer, we as adults who have had experience might know, we might know something isn't right here. But then again, like if it's something that's completely new to us, we don't know that it's telling us incorrect information because it's just like mass sourcing for it. So um, I personally know how AI can be used to take data sets and prevent fraud and different things like that. But from human intelligence, I think what's never going to be replaced is relationships.
Yeah.
And so, and I think that that's probably Where on campus, it's more, we're talking about people's character, building that up
I mean,
versus like teaching them how to have somebody else think for them. Because what we're building is the future leaders, not and our kids are the ones who are going to be the future leaders that
mm,
when everybody else doesn't have this. So it's interesting to see in real world business, but then also how do we think about it with our kids? So, Adele, I'd love to hear your opinion on it.
yeah.
I really haven't delved enough into AI to even know how it's gonna impact my kids long term. The only way that they're using it is synthesis right now, and I think it's really cool that I can just set my daughter up, and then the program adapts to her and learns from her, and so it's going to challenge her and not just keep her like in the same level. And I'm not a tech person at all. I want to frolic in Costa Rica and have a farm. So like I'm not tech savvy at all. So yeah, I have no idea, but
You know that I have literally two retirement plans. This is something I carried when about 25 years ago. One was retiring in Costa Rica and one was the US. And then I was like, what is retirement? And now my whole philosophy has changed, but that was.
Awesome. Yeah, we're
yeah,
going to Costa Rica.
yeah. Well, I'll meet you there.
Yeah,
Maybe
man.
we can do that together. That'd be so fun.
Britt, what you said about that, there is an AI train that is here now, and it's only going to get faster. Period. End of story. None of us have control over that. But what you said right there, focusing on the things that are inherently human, right? The meta skills we talk about, the relational skills, the health, the human health, like that's not like those things matter so dang much. When you were talking, I was looking up a couple of these headlines. CEO warns AI is going to wipe out 1 in 2 white collar jobs in the next 5 years. 1 in 2 white collar jobs in the next 5 years. Microsoft just cut hundreds more jobs after firing 6,000 last month. A lot of that is AI driven, right? So what is inherently going to happen will be the things that need humanity, the things that need the ability to communicate, the things that do need the ability to have conversation, to work with other, like that's going to be a premium.
Yeah.
Those things are going to be a premium for our kid. Like that is going to be so necessary. And we need to, again, build capable young people that are able to adapt to whatever is going to, need to be adapted to. We had our discovery call last week and we had a brilliant young lady on there, 24 years old. And she's like, I'm working on Wall Street. Half my job's going to be gone in the next 6 months. Half of my job description is gone in the next 6 months. It's no longer relevant. Now what? Now what I do? And she's reached out. I've actually had a few conversations with her since then. She's like, no, really, what do I do? I wish I wasn't prepared for this. I was told, make sure you get good grades, do all the right math, get into the right college, get the right job. And now my job's going to be gone. And I don't know it. Like that's an important conversation.
Yeah, for sure. I think at least what we're trying to do, and I know Apogee is doing this as well, is like giving kids skills, like as many skills as possible so that they can learn trades. Really, trades I feel like are going to be the thing.
Gonna be huge. They already are. There are more 6-figure jobs available in trades than something that requires a degree right now in this country. And it's been that way for like the last 7 years.
Yeah.
I mean, what an opportunity for our kids.
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
that's something they're interested in, right? Like what an opportunity there. It's fascinating. Kim, how are you?
Hi, I have really enjoyed listening to you on the health side and AI. You just so happen to catch me in the next 3 days. I'm actually speaking about AI to other public school teachers. I've been a public school teacher until this last 2 weeks. So 2 weeks ago was my very last, time. I'm done. I'm moving to Wyoming this week, and then I'm starting an Apogee campus within the next year. So all these big changes, but I still contract with it's a critical thinking company. It's a framework company, and I fly around to different places, and I go into public schools and I train their teachers kind of how to combat this in schools. And so basically everything that I just have to give props to you, because everything that you're doing and you did with your kids as far as like the screens, limiting the screens, from a neuroscience standpoint, because that's what my background is in. Everything you did was 100% right, because we are noticing now that we are changing brains. These kids' brains should be developing in a tactile function, and they're not. And people are thinking, oh, well, these are just educational screens. These are educational games. And it turns out the way that your photoreceptors awaken your brain in certain forms, like young brains, kids 2 to 4, they are not supposed to have their brain activated like that. And it fires and wires it in a way that we haven't seen this before in human history. And so this is a big concern. And the ed tech movement that happened, within the last 15 years, really, in my position, I taught high school. I taught 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, mainly 12th grade, but I did see all high school. And what's happened is with AI, learning used to be a process. It used to be a building of our brains learn a certain way. It's evolutionarily, or however it was created in a way that we learn in this fashion. And part of the journey is when you learn, and getting to the destination is the reaping of the benefit of that learning. What AI has kind of done now to kids that don't have this prior knowledge base or the development in their brain, they're getting straight to the destination and skipping the journey and losing so much just brain development, skill development. It's taking them straight to it. The attention span is so fragmented. And so we are battling attention fragmentation on a level that we've never seen before. And we can't get long-term potentiation, which is like how we form long-term memory. And so AI, while it's great for people that have developed brains, it's amazing. What we're seeing is that for underdeveloped brains, it's changing it in ways that we're losing critical thinking skills because they don't have to think about the why. There is no, why do you have to question the why? Because it just told me everything I needed to know in 5 seconds. And that's great for us, but it's changing the patience level, the ability to maintain eye contact, to have a conversation. Like the way that AI is changing education, my job, I believe in what Apogee does because I've always been like a project-based learning person. But for kids that are still in the system, I'm trying to go to teachers saying, hey, how do you combat this? Like, this is what you need to do. Close the screens, get them off the screens. The ed tech movement, we are finding out, oh, wow, it was a bad idea. The research, all neuroscience research has come out in the last 5 years. It's like, whoa, we made a big mistake. There are brains that don't need to have this until really 9th grade. 9th grade is whenever they're like, okay, this is when we can start integrating in this way. But before that, it needs to be 100% paper, tactile, conversation, and life.
Super interesting.
Wow.
Super.
Yeah, and I did hear that a lot of children in school are writing papers. They're just asking ChatGPT to write their papers for them. And so they're not really having to do any work as well. Are you seeing that?
That's all we see.
Yeah.
It got to the point where I had a reputation in my classroom. They're like, she doesn't let us get our computers out. No, absolutely not. You're not opening your computer. You're talking. You're having a conversation. And they're like, well, what if we need to look something up? Talk about it. Between you have 4 brains right there. 4 brains, y'all work it out and you figure it out. If you need to look up something, you let me know and then I'll stand behind you. It's just things you have to do now because it's too hard in the struggle. You can't learn without struggle, and heaven forbid they fail because we've removed failure from the equation completely. And they're like, oh, well, it's too hard, or we can't let the people fail. And it's like we are setting a mass amount of people to be just a sheep of a country. And that is what is happening in our public school system. I had seniors in high school that I am made to push through that cannot read on a first grade level, yet we're graduating them. And I mean, I'm sorry, it's a complete and utter sham.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Terrifying. Doing good work over there, Miss Cox.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for that information.
Heck yeah. I know we got a couple more here. I know we're at an hour too. Are you okay if we just get last couple? And okay. Just want to make sure we're good on that. Sash, what's happening, my friend? How's things out there in Iowa? Everybody's muted in Iowa.
I hate
There we
it,
go.
but it's
That's
so
all
hard
right.
to phone.
Got you, girl. It's all good.
Thanks. Iowa's great. It's
Good.
not summer yet here. It's at like 50 degrees, so I don't know what's going on with the weather. But I just want to say thank you so much for being here. I resonate with everything you've brought up. Instead of it being for myself, I've been healing my son. And so not that I want to just like follow everything you're doing, but is there a place I could see or that you could send me kind of your protocol for yourself and maybe what you do with your children as far as detoxing or supplements wise? Just I'll give you a real short history. My son, when COVID hit, he had pandas. And so it's inflammation everywhere in the body. And so we're 5 years out of it. He's wonderful. He's like 95%, but there's still some like emotional trauma remaining and some tics that we just can't get completely gone. It comes with nervousness and excitement. And so I've forgotten half of what we've done. We've done so much. And so would just love to kind of hear your take on maybe something I haven't tried yet.
Well, sure. First of all, I know people with pandas, and I know one person with pandas, which I guess is double or something. I'm not quite sure, but just what you've done for your son is like you're a superhero. Like all the things you've done for him to help him, like you should just be so proud of yourself because you've moved mountains for your child. And like I just admire you so much. Like I cannot even imagine all the hours and the money and the just researching and like so like really good job. Be really proud of yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah. I am not a medical expert by any means, but
and I totally understand that. But just you might just have one little tip that I never thought of.
Yeah, sure. So if you haven't had a mold test done, I would really recommend a mold test. Mold is in a ton of our food, like oatmeal and a peanut butter. Have you done a mold test?
No. Do you have a reliable, whenever I go down those rabbit holes, it's like, oh, who do you trust?
Yeah. I mean, the one that my doctor ordered was from Mosaic Diagnostics. And we did a mold test, a gut test, a genetic test, a glyphosate test, and a bunch of other tests. But those were the mains. And Gary Brecka, the holistic guy that I love, says that the main 5 things that are going on when you have an autoimmune or some kind of issue are candida, heavy metals, mold, parasites, and leaky gut. So I would say that if you can check off that mold list or the mold box, that would be really great because mold is so insidious. And that's actually what activated my autoimmune was mold. I was exposed to it. And my body can't get rid of it because I have the MTHFR gene mutation. So if you haven't done the MTHFR, get that done because there's a double mutation, there's a single, and then get the mold test. And then if you find a really good functional medicine or integrative doctor, they're going to give you like nutraceuticals to help heal your child. And of course, a diet protocol instead of pharmaceuticals. But the mold is one of those things where it causes all kinds of weird stuff. And I actually know 2 people with pandas that were both positive for mold. So it just might be the one thing that you need to go see about, just one more thing to cross off.
Yeah, wonderful. We did do a parasite protocol and I went too hard too quick and it gave him this head shake. Like I thought he was going to break his neck for a year. we stopped it and it didn't go away. I mean, that was like probably the worst of my life. So I feel like the tick came out because it was tackling it, but it maybe releasing worse things while they were dying. So I'm like, I'm nervous to do that anymore without a professional to guide me, just because it's not my body and I can't tell what's going on with him.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it might be worth a try to do the one that we've used in our family for 2 years. It's very gentle and it's slower. And it's just a natural mineral that literally like toxins gravitate toward it and it pulls it out that way. So if you want to like, I don't know how we would do that, message on the side or something, I can talk to you about that.
That'd be wonderful. Thank you. I just appreciate your opinion. Tackled stuff too. So thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Good stuff, Sasha. And yeah, Sasha, you got Heather going down a rabbit hole on something too. I don't remember what she was going down. She was going down something the other night. And I was like, what are you looking up? And she's like, oh, and I don't remember what it was. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And she's like, yeah, she's like, Sasha kind of put me on this when I was talking to her about something at dinner. And I was like, oh, cool, man. That's awesome. That's rad. So you got her looking too.
That's all that I talk about anymore. It's just how can people help each other get healthy?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. And a lot of moms know a lot, you know.
True story. True story. That's awesome. Good stuff, Sash. And Jenna, you got the last one, my friend. Come on in. And yeah, I agree, Jenna. Find a good naturopath. Dang right.
Yeah, Sasha, I know a couple in Bend of like people who had like mold stuff, and I don't know anybody with kids where the kid has been the one that they're trying to find somebody for. But if you can't find one that is local to you, let me know, or I bet Adele knows, or there's like lots of people who have great naturopaths everywhere. But like, yeah, reach out if you need. Yeah, just the AI thing, and it's funny, Kimberly, like what you were saying too. So I also was a traditional education teacher and haven't been in the classroom since 2021. But it was, and obviously AI has spiked exponentially since then. And I have a friend who is a current public high school teacher, and she's like, oh, these like kids cheat, just exactly like you were saying, Kimberly, of like, but she's like, it's so obvious. Like they're stupid because they think they're like, oh, well, AI is going to do it for me, but then they're not smart about it. And so she's like, I've seen other things you've written in class, and this is in zero way comparison. So like, do you think I'm the idiot, or like what's happening here? Right. And so I think that, you know, as we open our campuses, trades is 1000% going to be like, I'm so excited to just like help raise good humans and have them have the skills to do anything that doesn't hopefully involve a computer, because most of those jobs exactly are going to be non-existent. And then like hopefully teach them how to use it smartly, right? Like how to use AI to help, and in what ways it is going, like if you need to write a paper but you're having trouble researching, okay, how can you use it to support but keep it in your writing, right? And then again, like I say we, but Sean basically, that's my husband. He's used it like to like restructure his resume, right? Like it helps just see things slightly differently. So again, but if you know how to use it to help you, right? And so I think hopefully, definitely not for our littles, but like our like high school age kiddos that we eventually have at Apogee, right? Like of teaching them how to use it to support, not use it as an alternative and the faster way to get there, but how to enhance what it is that they need.
How to create. Yeah, it's such a fast. And it's funny because you're saying like, oh, I clearly see how you write. And then I see how, you know, this writes here too, right? And I think back though, like I remember in 4th grade in California, you've got your mission project, and the teachers knew what I was able to create in class. And then I came with the most beautiful mission that had ever been done, clearly by my parents, right? So it's like, is that much different? But we were okay with that one, and we're not like, but I'm right. I'm with you. I'm right there with you. Like it is such an interesting thing to navigate. But yeah, how do we use it the right way? How do we use it?
And I have a friend who's a college professor, and he's having to like figure out how to beat it, right? Because exactly, he doesn't want kids coming in. And obviously, if you don't know them from Adam, then you don't, right? Like you're a college professor, you have them for however many weeks. Like you don't have enough knowledge of those
Totally.
young adults to like know what's they're writing and what's not, right? And so he's having to navigate how to beat the system and to make it right, like to do different projects or whatever it may be in order to help his, you know, these kids that are in his classes not fully use the computer, you know, so he's really struggling. And like it's an entire, which I think for professors or for teachers who are still in that, it's really, really challenging because, yeah, you either have to beat them or like they're going to run all over you and like you're not going to be able to do anything. And so I think that's really tough too.
Yeah, I think the university system conversation with this in general is going to be fascinating.
Yeah.
I think it's going to change a lot in the next 5 years.
It's going to have to.
It's going to change a lot. And I mean change a lot, but I think it's going to shut down a lot of universities too. I really do. I think there's going to be some that'll adapt, and I think a lot will fundamentally go away. So fascinating.
Well, hurrah to that.
I mean, you know what? I think there's some okay in there, you know? I really do. Dang right. Oh, super interesting, super fun. Hey, thanks for coming in and hanging out with us. Thanks for coming in and chatting on all this stuff.
Yeah, of
Thank you for
course.
continuing to be a voice, and continuing to be brave and to put things out there and to you know push the needle and push back for getting a country back that's you know not at its freaking wits end and you know
Yeah.
being good human beings, man. So we're gonna put this out as a podcast too. Final questions on our side. Where does everybody find you? And how do we support you best? Us as a community.
Well, you can find me on Instagram at truthbombmom. I'm on TikTok, but not really. Where am I? Where am I? Yeah, mainly Instagram. And you can DM me if you have questions or whatever you want to talk on the side. I don't have an AI assistant yet, so I do everything myself.
Actually have conversations. That's right.
Yes. And how to support me, man, you guys are just like the outpouring of love has been so supportive. Like I just feel very supported right now. So thank you for having me and being so kind and so generous. And I just really appreciate it.
We're here, man. And as part of the Apogee tribe too, you'll get invited out to the reunion if you can make it this year
Yes.
too. But would love to have you out there. So yeah, I mean, obviously the conversations are going to continue, but whatever we can do to have your back and your hubby's back and those 4 beautiful humans, we got you covered, girl.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you bet. Awesome. I'm going to work with these ladies through a debrief here real quick. I will reach out to you in a little bit too. I want to send something to the fam too. So
Okay. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thanks, Adele.
Bye, guys.